News, politics, music, and more. This is What's Really Really.
You are now tuned in to the WRR Podcast.
What's really, really, really
Breaking news.
What's really, really, really we need? What's really, really, really your victory? What's really, really, really
Translating media.
What's really, really me, Hank? There is your boy, your host, your peoples, your fam, me, Joe Sabes Nada, and you are now tuned into What's Really, Really, a hip-hop themed political podcast. And on this episode, we're going to be discussing the 2024 election and news related to it. We're going to be discussing the AI revolution and how you can get some leverage, Palanka. And we'll also be discussing 50 years of hip-hop, where it's been, some highlights, where it's going, and of course, a highlight from Hispanic Heritage Month. Let's get into it. Two candidates, Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Indicted
All right,
again.
so here we got your boy
This,
Trump,
the fourth
right?
case against
He
him,
currently
adding
has
up to a
4
combined 91
cases
charges.
with
The
91
first indictment-
criminal charges. Let's stop right there. Okay, he's the current front runner, meaning it's predicted that if the election were held today, he would win. Why? Because he's leading in the swing states. What are swing states and why are they important? Well, if you win a swing state, which could swing either left or right, then you would win the Electoral College. If you're not familiar with the Electoral College, please check out my episode. Just Google search WRR Podcast, Electoral College. I break that down along with several other things down and how that affects everybody, whatever and what sort. But let's get back to the topic here. We got your boy Trump, who's the current front runner.
Less than 5 months
Let's take a
ago,
look at his cases
Trump
real
accused
quick.
of
The first one
falsifying-
right here. Stormy Daniels, illegal use of campaign funds, right? So Stormy Daniels is a corn worker who had an affair with Trump. Now, the reason why he wanted to pay her off is because this was during the campaign before he was president. And even though he had all these other, controversial things happening at that time, this story hit a little different because it was an affair he was having with Stormy Daniels while being married to Melania Trump. And I believe she was pregnant with Barron Trump at the time as well, that the affair happened, right? So now that's a moral issue. The legal issue was that he used campaign funds, meaning people gave him money for his campaign to run for president. However, he used those funds to basically pay her to not tell her story. Quick overview, right? So that's first case against your boy right here,
It's
right?
linked to a payment to Stormy Daniels.
So case
Since then,
number 2, we
case
have the
involving
classified
classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago
Right.
home.
So the classified documents, basically when he left the White House after he lost the election, right? He didn't give some stuff back. Now, I have more on this later in the episode. And to me, this is a telltale sign of just how crazy this is and why I feel like this is not even a real election, right? There's something's going to intervene. But anyway, that's for later, right? Let's continue on. Okay.
The
So,
January 6th
third case right
insurrection
here, we
case.
have, of course, January 6th. Quick overview. People stampeded the U.S. Capitol trying to overturn the result of the election, right? Why did they go there? Because they thought the election was false or the results were false, right? Where did they get that idea from, right? That's why Trump is in legal trouble right now over this, because not only did they get the idea that the election was invalid, right, from him and his people, right? They also got the idea that they should take it over violently because they did try like over 60 times in courts, and the number could be varied, but several different attempts they've had, no go, right? So they was like, you know what, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna rush, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna jump in here and make this thing happen, right? So that's the third case, right? You see treason up there, right? Because essentially, that's what it was. They smeared Dookie on the wall. They smeared Dookie on the wall. I'm gonna just, leave that right there,
Now,
right?
accusations of trying to meddle
So,
with Georgia's election.
Case number
results
4, we have the
specifically.
RICO, right? Now, I just stated, okay, right there is getting into to your boy Joe Biden, right? So we're going to jump into Joe Biden right after this. But the RICO case, that's because it was him and his peoples, you know what I'm saying? He got hit with the RICO. That's wild. He's currently fighting a RICO, and he's still running for president. You know what I'm saying? Like, from my research, I've learned that he could be actually in prison right now and still keep his campaign going. That's wild to me. You know what I'm saying? Given the fact that, you know, you can't work at certain places or even live at certain places if you have criminal records or certain charges or convictions. But anyway, he's still not convicted, right? But he's in the process of it. And he's the front runner. Wild, right? So let's get into to Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden, the current president. So Trump has 4 different criminal cases in several states, right? Most people would probably bet that Joe Biden couldn't name 4 states without having some type of fumble, gaffe, or something. You know what I'm saying? He's the current president. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, let's just keep him 1,000. He's too old. He's too old. That's it, right? So here goes your boy Joe Biden right here, right?
In this
This
world,
is just an example of
this world-renowned hub of innovation,
you know what I'm saying?
leading tech companies like Anthropic, and I'm going to mispronounce. I'm not going to even try.
All right, so that's your man's. That's what we got going on in 2024 election. Okay, so those are our top 2 candidates for the 2024 presidential election. Unbelievable. Now, that was just a quick overview, and even though there's many more issues and topics to speak about for both of those candidates, as well as there being other candidates in the race, of course, plus the million of things going on in the world. See, really, the hardest thing to do is to pick and break down what you're going to talk about, how you're going to talk about it, and why you're even talking about it. So I know there's many more issues, but that was a quick overview, right? So as I stated in that breakdown, the 2024 election, I don't believe is real. What do I mean by that? I don't feel like it's going to be a regular election. Definitely not a traditional election. Now, this is not anything new to us, as within our lifetime, if we could remember, we had the 2000 election, right? Where we saw a stalemate essentially, and the Supreme Court essentially made George Bush the president of the United States. Now, this was in 2000, but this 2024 is slightly different, and this is why. I say that because about 1 in 6 voters do not want neither Trump or Biden to be president. They don't want to vote for either one of them. Now, the majority of the people who are loyal to their party is going to go ahead and vote for whoever their nominee is. However, Trump and Biden stand at an approval rating of under 40%, right? So that means about 60% of people, even voters for Biden or Trump, are not satisfied with that pick, right? So this is why I say a third party is way different in this election than it has been in the past. Now, we've had some famous third party candidates like Ross Perot, Ralph Nader, Jill Stein. These are third party candidates that have made a wave in the past and definitely did have an impact in the elections that they ran in. However, with this being the case, with 1 in 6 voters not wanting either of the current frontrunners for the presidency, I see the third party playing a way bigger part in this. And with that being said, there's this thing called the 12th Amendment. Now, I've heard some news stations talking about it, but this is what you're hearing from me now, all right? So this is a possibility. There's a million possibilities. As we've seen, things are not regular, all right? Things have not been regular. The traditional things don't stand, they don't work. As we see, Trump is still running for president, still the front runner with everything that he has going against him. But the 12th Amendment essentially is where, how can I put this? Okay. If neither Trump or Biden gets enough electoral college votes, and again, please watch my electoral college podcast. It explains a lot of this. But if neither of them get the majority of the electoral college votes, then that means that, you know, a third party candidate took up some more electoral college votes, right? So that would mean that the 12th Amendment would now be implemented. And essentially what that would do is allow the House of Representatives to pick the president. Similarly to how the Supreme Court picked the president in 2000, although that's a different strategy because it was a different case, right? That whole situation was with the voting machines and the hanging chads, pause, super pause. But that's for my poli-sci heads and my political junkies. I'm sure you remember that whole catastrophe. So from that catastrophe to fast forward the 2016 catastrophe, there's a lot of lessons to be learned. There are some special variables and aspects for this 2024 election right here. However, I feel like the Democrats need to listen to some different voices, maybe such as myself. You know what I'm saying? I do think you need to put more of a focus on male voters of African American and Hispanic heritage and descent, because I could go down the list of Wisconsin and all that. Again, another topic that I spoke about on my electoral college video. The margins are slim. All right. You have abortion as your main topic right now, and you're locking in votes with that. But there's a demographic that you've been looking over, and I'm telling you right now, you need to pay attention to them because it could definitely cost the election 100% for sure. So as of right now, unless we get a surprise Michelle Obama announcement for her candidacy, maybe sometime early next year, I'm not saying that's going to happen, okay? But I'm just saying something like that, in my opinion, is what's needed in order to solidify the win. I know Trump is going to be going through his court dealings during the election, and we're going to go ahead and get into that as well. But if that does not happen, it's looking kind of crazy out here. Okay, so quick plug, as I stated, please go listen to the episode I did for the Electoral College. Just do a quick Google search, WRR Podcast, Electoral College. That episode just connects a lot of the dots for some of the things I said in this episode, as well as has many, many gems. So please, if you have some time, take a look at it. That episode, along with this episode, will be posted on TLM 365. That's TLM 365. There you'll also find the WRR Senate cards, which is a tool that we created to allow everyone to be able to contact their senator at any time regarding any issue. All right, let's take a look at so I can show y'all what I'm talking about here. All right. So here we have TLM 365, and these are the WRR Senate cards, a free portable social media reference tool to be able to contact your senator at any time through several different means of communication. These cards are made for communication, education, and political purposes. So as you can see here, we have each senator from each state listed with a card, all right, almost like a trading card. These are, made in cards to be posted on social media. And then you have all of their links that you see on the card right here in clickable form. So if we want to see her Facebook page or we want to send her a message via Facebook, we could go right here. As you can see, I am not on Facebook much. Don't sign in on this computer, but shouts out to Facebook. I will be posting on there. But so this is the Facebook page, and it's the same for all other social media, Instagram, right? Shouts out to Instagram. I'm barely on there too, but I'm gonna be back. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go to Twitter, same deal, right? Or X, as it's now called, right? Well, whatever. I gotta sign in for that, right? See, that's how you know I'm barely on social media. Please forgive me for that. But we also have the contact, or at least the email address to their legislative director. In some cases, it is the chief of staff. It all depends what information was available. But this is all publicly available information. I just made it as an easy one-stop shop resource in order to, be able to contact your senators, because they are the top dogs in your state. Essentially, the governor is like the president of your state, and then the senators are the two top dogs that can make things happen in Congress. All right. So we have all the all the states here with their senators. All right. Now, TLM.com is also the place where you could come sign this petition. All right. So this is a petition to essentially leverage AI and technology to give taxpayers more of a say in how their taxpayer funds get spent, right? So essentially, you get taxes taken out of your check every week or every 2 weeks, whenever you get paid. And basically, we do elect, the senators or the congressmen in your state legislature, as well as in the national legislature, and then they decide how the money is spent. As it is said, Congress has the power of the purse, right? But that doesn't really sit well or make sense to me. So I took an idea that J. Cole had presented on a song called Brackets in 2018. And it's just like, why not? Why don't we have an app where we can pick and choose where we want our money to go? It's not saying that we're not going to pay the taxes. However, we should have a say into where the taxes go. Now, of course, there's a whole bunch of details and different things that can make this unrealistic. However, why not? Why can't we be taught the same things that the politicians are learning from the lobbyists? They get lobbied all the time, right? I feel like we get lobbied too. We should be explained to what the issues are and if we want to donate to them and how much. Now, of course, there's a lot of logistics to this. There's a lot of discussion to be had, but I think it's something actually feasible and needed. Now, it will change a lot of things in the system, but our system is not perfect. I don't think it'll ever be perfect. It's always going to be a work in progress. Why not give this a try? If y'all agree with me, please come and sign at TLM 365. You could go ahead and click right here. And that's going to bring you right to the petition page. You can see I just started it. I haven't promoted it. I'm the only one signed to it. If you want to jump in, all you got to do is sign it, make your voice heard, and see if we could gather enough attention to start reaching out to these politicians and let them know, hey, look, we need to know how our money's being spent. This could affect a whole bunch of stuff, all right? Talk about a trickle-down theory, right? Or trickle-up theory. So check out TLM365.com. Okay, so we're going to try this out this time, see if it works. Okay, so now that politics is out of the way, let's talk about the biggest thing happening right now. Pause. But that is the AI revolution.
Big changes are expected for the global job market. According to a report published Sunday by the World Economic Forum, 14 million jobs will disappear in the next 5 years as more companies adopt advanced technologies like artificial intelligence.
This could potentially save time and resources, but it could also lead to a loss of personal connections and a decline in the quality of these types of interactions.
The WEF also says among the 3 fastest growing jobs are AI and machine learning specialists, sustainability specialists, and business intelligence analysts. The fastest declining jobs are secretarial roles, including bank tellers, cashiers, and data entry clerks.
Okay, so as you just saw, AI will single-handedly, within the next 5 years, wipe out about or close to 14 million jobs. So it is imperative that you get yourself some leverage now, okay? Now there's different places and different things you could do. I actually have an article coming out on Infinite Magazine later on this month where I go into Web 3.0 and different tools you could use. Now there's gonna be pieces of the article, if you're not familiar with this language, that you're gonna wanna research. So whatever you don't understand in the article, do some research on that. Like if you're not familiar with Ethereum, MetaMask, having a wallet or having your code and storing that safely. All of these things are going to be highly, highly, highly important to move into this new AI revolution, generation, and present thing that's happening right now. Now, me personally, I use programs or courses from either Udemy or Coursera. There's many other options out there. However, I like those too. I'll also have more information on other places where you could go to either take courses or get more information on this AI revolution. So whether it's machine learning, AI, UI, UX, cybersecurity, IT, there's a plethora of things, as it will wipe out 14 million jobs. But if you get ahead of the curve right now, there'll be more jobs. And I'm sure even after that, there's going to be jobs, as people are going to be forced to learn these things. But regardless of the matter, it is imperative that you get some leverage. Palanka, arranca.
Facts. You take a look at hip hop's 50 years. From when we first started, we had no access to banking, no access to education, no access to religious institutions, no access to government, no access to the music industry, studios, none of this. We just some kids doing our thing. We start rapping to one of us, yo, boom, boom, boom. We start breaking, we doing our art, we doing it, we expressing ourselves. Come to find out, that self-expression is what the whole world is thinking about and wants to do. So right away, you gotta think to yourself, first of all, if you hip hop, you feel like the world feels. Don't think that your feeling is only your feeling. Your feeling is how the whole globe feels. Okay, that's number one. Number two, so now you think it's just you walking. No, it's not. You're guided and protected. So now you saw the first 50 years you was guided and protected. What you think your next 50 years gonna be like? Guided and protected. You need to put your faith in your culture. That's my point. And the 50 years of hip-hop's 50 years proves that hip-hop is worthy of your faith, worthy of your time.
Let's give it up for the man, the legend, KRS-One, who right there in that clip basically encapsulated and personified what it means to celebrate hip-hop at 50 years old. Let's just put that into perspective. Hip-hop is 50 years old, and we're celebrating that today, present day. Now, 5 years before that was the assassination of Martin Luther King. Let's just put that into perspective, okay? Because we know of the conspiracy where they put civil rights footage purposely in black and white to make it seem older than what it actually is. However, the last civil rights leader that we've had in this country died 5 years before hip hop was born, which was celebrating its 50th birthday today. That's just to put things into perspective, all right? Now, hip hop is from a place that I'm proud to call my hometown as well, and that is the Bronx, New York. So over the 50 years, we've seen hip hop evolve from parties in Frotona Park to parties on the White House lawn.
And check this out. Lil Wayne, Common, and many more artists joined forces with Vice President Kamala Harris this past weekend for a once-in-a-lifetime concert celebrating 50 years of hip-hop. On Saturday, September 9th, artists including Wayne, Common, Too Short, Jeezy, Fat Joe, Remy Ma, Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, MC Lyte, Wale, and more took over the front lawn at the residence of Vice President Kamala Harris in Washington, D.C. for a host of iconic performances in collaboration with the Recording Academy's Black Music Coalition and Live Nation Urban. It was all in honor of hip-hop's impact over the last 50 years, from music to fashion, film, and beyond.
Hip-hop is more than just music. It's a culture, it's a mindset, it's a divine blessing. I would advise to go watch that KRS-One interview on Rhymes and Politics. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. But definitely take a listen. He's dropping gems. And because of that, we have to protect it. And by it, I mean hip hop. And I'm not talking about protected in a old, angry, old head kind of way, like, oh, these youngers can't spit. They just mumbling, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I get that argument. I get each side of that argument, right? However, it is our duty and it is our privilege on top of that to keep pushing the culture forward, to not do it as gatekeepers, but to do it out of the love for the art of hip hop. Now, the way I participate is doing things like making this show, making playlists, playing indie artists on online radio stations. Shouts out to Element Radio 1, shining a spotlight on them, and just pushing the culture forward. Because as I stated, I don't only feel like it's a duty, I feel like it's a privilege to do so. And of course, hip hop has negative aspects attached to it and living within it. However, I'm not focused so much on those aspects when celebrating the 50 years of hip hop, because just as anything, it could be used for good or it could be used for bad. It's whatever you do with it. And you could do many, many things with it. Now, rap could be translated to, as an acronym, rhymes and politics, like the show, or it could be translated to rhythm and poetry. However you break it down, whatever it means to you, there is a universal implication that this is art, this is poetry, right? And to stay on the poetry side, I want to go ahead and bless you with this highlight from Hispanic Heritage Month. Now, the video is actually from about 8 years ago, I believe, but being that Hispanic Heritage Month just passed, it is from September 15th to October 15th. So yeah, we don't even get like a real month or anything like that. It's kind of like half of one month, half of another month, but whatever. It's 30 days, I guess. But this poetry right here, this spoken word from Elizabeth Acevedo is phenomenal. There's a lot of discussions on, do Hispanics deserve credit, I should say, for the creation of hip hop? Look, that's a hot topic, right? And we're gonna delve into that as well at another time. But just to put some facts out there, I haven't seen anybody calling for like a 50% credit towards Hispanics, towards hip hop. It is an FBA thing, fundamentally Black American genre that was created by them, but it was created in the Bronx that had a lot of Puerto Ricans in it. I'm Dominican myself, but in the South Bronx, where hip hop was created, the population was heavily Puerto Rican. All right. Of course, you had Dominicans and Cubans and a whole bunch of other Hispanic ethnicities in there. However, they were definitely there. Breakdancing is in the Olympics. Crazy Legs is one of the most famous breakdancers that we know. And breakdancing is definitely one of the 5 elements of hip hop. But not to go too much into that, without further ado, I'm going to leave you with this wonderful poetry by Elizabeth Acevedo. And, thank you for staying this far. If you've stayed this far, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This is our first time doing a video platform of the podcast. So if you enjoyed it, again, please hit subscribe, like the video, follow us on social media. You already know it's your boy, your host, your peoples, your fam, Joe Sabes Nada, out.
Afro-Latina, camina conmigo, salsa swagger anywhere she go, como la negra tiene tumbao azúcar. Dance to the rhythm, beat the drums of my skin. Afro descendant, the rhythms within. The first language I spoke was Spanish. Learned from lullabies whispered in my ear. My parents' tongue was a gift which I quickly forgot after realizing my peers did not understand it. They did not understand me. So I rejected habichuela and mango, much preferring Happy Meals and Big Macs. Straightening my hair in imitation of Barbie, I was embarrassed by my grandmother's colorful skirts and my mother's broki English, which cracked my pride when she spoke. So I would poke fun at her myself, hoping to lessen the humiliation. Proud to call myself American, a citizen of this nation. I hated caramel colored skin. Curse God, I'd been born the color of cinnamon, how quickly we forget where we come from. So remind me, Remind me that I come from the Taínos of the Rio, the Aztec, the Mayan, los Incas, los Españoles con sus fincas buscando oro, and the Yoruba Africanos que con sus manos built a mundo nunca imaginado. I know I come from stolen gold, from cocoa, from sugarcane, the children of slaves and slave masters, a beautifully tragic mixture, a sancocho of erased history, and my memory can't seem to escape the thought of lost lives and indigenous rape. A bittersweet bitterness, a feeling innate, the soul of a people past, present, and fate. Our stories cannot be checked into boxes. They are in the forgotten, the undocumented, the passed down spoonfuls of arroz con dulce at abuela's knee. They're the way our hips skip to the beat of cumbia, merengue, y salsa. They're in the bending and blending of backbones. We are deformed and reformed beings. It's in the sway of our song, the landscapes of our skirts, the azúcar beneath our tongue. We are the unforeseen children. We're not a cultural wedlock. Hair too kinky for Spain and too wavy for dreadlocks. So our palms tell the cuentos of many tierras. Read our lifeline, birth of intertwined moonbeams and starshine. We are every ocean crossed. North Star navigates our waters. Our bodies have been bridges. We are the sons and daughters. El destino de mi gente. Black, brown, beautiful. Viviremos para siempre. Afro-latinos hasta la muerte.
It's really, really, really.